Let's do Wheelman
Wheelman.
first.
Wheelman does whatever a wheel can.
The second I
What's-
saw
what's-
Joe
yeah.
Carnahan's name in the credits, I was like, oh, here we go. And this movie felt like an extension of the shit he was doing for the BMW. I mean, Tad and I have talked about those in the past, the BMW movies.
Yeah, because of you guys, I bought the collection
Yeah.
on disc.
Which are dope.
I like this movie a lot. It's not deep, and I know that it's sort of a stunt. Like, I'm going to do a car chase movie where you don't ever really see any cars, except
never
from
get out of the
weird
car.
angles.
But you
I mean,
do.
you know, it's like
A little
one
bit.
shot of the Porsche,
It's
but
a
like
bummer.
most of the movie is taking
Actually,
place like
both
from a
his car-
wheel
both his
well.
cars
I
are
actually found this photo of
Oh,
They had
That's
to put
with
on that
every rig
BMW.
attached
Full
all at
on-
once.
The thing is, what's cool about that, see all the stuff on there is that they can do all that, put the cameras on, all that stuff
Yeah.
with very little additional lighting.
yeah.
Because new cameras are so sensitive, they could drive around like in the tunnels, and this is
This
all
got
shot.
one of the best.
This scene's
Toyota
mostly
Prius
lit.
gags I've ever seen.
Yeah. This is all
That's a
shot
good
in Boston and Lawrence. And
One of the what, Chris, that you've ever seen?
Toyota when the motorcyclist plows into that Prius.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I
that was-
rewound it and watched it again.
That was a oh shit moment out loud.
This scene is
I
mostly
don't
lit
know. I was go ahead.
by this dial and this billboard. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing how much they can get out of that little.
You know what
like-
else? This movie looks terrific.
Yeah, it looks great.
Really good.
it was
There's
nice.
a lot of really good filmmaking in this movie.
There
It's
is.
unfortunate that the plot sucks so bad.
Did it though?
Oh,
Yeah, it
Oh,
does.
it's just
don't
simple
know.
and
I'm just a down and out criminal trying to get back with my family.
If I didn't know,
Yeah.
You know,
if
it's
I
like,
didn't know any better, I would have
Cliche.
thought this was a COVID movie. I actually had to look at like
Yeah,
what?
right?
2017, like because it's basically Frank Grillo in a car by himself a lot of the time on the phone.
And
Boy, it is,
he's
isn't
good.
and
He's
that's what sold
good,
me.
man.
Frank Grillo in the car. I'm like, yep.
No, but you also got
That must have been
those
hard.
Other guys, and I love the
Oh
ending.
yeah. I mean, I'll watch Shea Wiggum do
Yeah,
anything.
I watch that guy and anything, and then what's his name from Raising Hope? I'm blanking. The guy
you want
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
went to
Yeah,
shoot
that-
himself in the
you
head.
want to talk about sucking the day player?
Garrett
man.
Dillahunt.
It's like
Yeah,
He's
Gary
good.
Hunt.
this film
He's
sucks the
good.
day player
Right here.
pipe harder
Right
than
here.
anything. These guys show up for one scene basically. Garrett Dillahunt gets in, sits in the car, blows half his head off, and dies.
Yeah,
Well,
But I'll tell you what,
What a
that's
great
one of the
little death scene. What a great
Yeah,
death
I was just gonna
scene.
say that's one of the best on-screen death scenes I've seen in a long time.
I know.
I don't
Hey,
disagree.
Garrett.
And Joe Grillo the entire time is just like, you goddamn motherfucker. What did you do?
Even when he's trying to kill him, it's just like, you idiot.
I know.
Damn it.
Mhm.
I started this really late thinking I was going to have a hard time. And man, I was so jacked up by the end of it. And boy, does it move quickly that I had a hard time sleeping afterward.
Speaking of sleep, I started this film and then fell asleep about 25 minutes in.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I don't know. It just was. I thought it was something about rather monotonous about the middle part of the film, where you kind of like your first task, your first act stuff is done, and then you're setting up the second act, and it just took a long time to get.
Can you hear me?
It was after he runs away.
Oh, we lost John.
Oh, we lost John. What happened? That's messed up. But he can come back anytime he wants because that's the way he set this thing up.
Perfect.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I believe you.
I
These
felt
guys,
like
these guys came in without any permissions. It actually works.
it did work.
Yeah. So we're good. He's
Yeah.
back.
And
There he is.
I
We
don't know
gotcha.
what the
Back
backstory
and
was. There
looking
wasn't
good.
much on IMDb to look at. Obviously, you got Carnahan attached to it. That's something. And this guy hasn't really done much since, but I felt like whether this was I wonder if we can pull something like this off. Let's go this is how I want to make this movie. Let's see if we can go pull this off. Or I don't know. I mean, it like Netflix was just throwing money in 2017 at anybody that wanted to make anything.
Yeah, they were like, you have 268 fucks in your script. Here you go. Here's
Yeah.
It
$15
was
million.
actually set a record
Right.
book, which is like great. But
It's
So-
in the Wikipedia.
you know
this
what?
movie-
Do you know what the budget for this was? It wasn't.
I
that
don't.
Can't imagine it was.
But
It's like
But
16 or
this-
$20 million.
That's one of the
It's
great
not-
things about this film is that it's like, okay, you've got your two cars with all your camera crap on there, right? And so that's your
It's
film.
$5 million for the budget, apparently.
Yeah,
which
$5
is
million bucks.
Way less than I thought.
That's
And
way
most of that's
low.
probably for the
Really low, but
which is why you had day players in here, which is like
But-
got through quickly on this thing.
I'm a huge
And
Frank
Joe Grillo was
Grillo
also
fan.
a producer, so
Right.
he was taking it on
Yeah.
the back
Or
end.
was that might have been like a handoff? It's like, well,
No, I think he was taking it on the back end. He was
Maybe.
like, I'm going to take the percentage. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And though they ended up doing Tad, or did you guys see, what was it called, like Boss Level with Grillo that he did for Carnahan a year?
Yeah, he also did. I didn't finish Boss Level because I really hated it,
I
but
thought it was all right. It's not
he
as good
also
as this.
did. But he did Cop Shop right after, and I liked that one.
Oh, I love Cop Shop.
but dude,
Yeah, and that was Grillo.
this is around the time of Endgame, so he was like, "Don't worry about money."
Right.
I mean,
He probably spent his own money on
they
this.
probably
Yeah,
shot
Well,
this in
exactly.
4 nights.
Well, if you give him, because I think he's a terrific actor. I know he's got a certain range, but if
He's
you
very
give
good in
him a
that
script like
range.
this, he's so good at this. He's so
Yeah.
good in this at what he's doing.
He
He's
is.
captivating. He's
and that
so.
can't be
I think
easy
when he
to
saw
do.
this, yeah, when
Well,
he
he's
saw
like
the
a-
script,
he's
he was
like a
probably like,
John
"Yeah, I want to do
Grease.
this."
He's like a John Grease or an Alan Tudyk who is just super good at being in that lane.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you stay in that lane, you're very good at it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, the daughter did a great job. I thought.
Oh, I thought she was
good.
Caitlin
fantastic.
Carmichael was actually 13 when they filmed this.
no
Wow.
shit. I didn't know.
Just insane.
That.
I was literally like, she has to be like 17, 18, 19 years old. And I went and looked. She was born in 2004.
Wow.
Like,
She was really good in this.
she's
I
The
was
movie got
very-
better.
She's the best part of this movie.
The movie got better when she showed up in it.
There's a bit of a trope where you have the super capable daughter who is like, oh, I remember that time at the track.
But I usually don't believe it, and here I did.
You absolutely believe
Yeah.
it.
Also with the Porsche 911, which I worshipped as a kid, I love. I was just painted up like Herbie the Love Bug for some reason.
A little bit.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
it's a race car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. It's that kind of visually sells you on the idea that she knows how racing works. Although,
Well,
Yeah.
and he keeps telling her, like, you have to go slower, you have to take the corners slower. Like, that part all really worked for me.
Yeah.
Like
this
that
was
that
this was a
part of the
gearhead movie
relationship.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The car noises were
German performance cars. This is all about that. It's like that BMW 3 Series in the front. Oh my God.
I think that's that's an M3, I
It's an
think.
M3. Well, of course, they're all going to be modified, but you know, it's
It's
started
an
at a 3
E46, so
But god damn, as a beautiful freaking car, man. And so is a Porsche. I mean, they're great.
I mean, there's a couple of things that, okay, who's on the motorcycle?
who cares?
Who's paying the guy in the motorcycle?
Who cares?
Or what?
You know, we don't know what side he was
No,
on. I
I
mean,
don't know.
there's-
You can explain that part. Who's double crossing who?
Well,
Who cares?
I couldn't explain that to you.
no, I mean, it. By the end, you sort of figure out that, okay, there's like these two rival mob bosses, Philly guy and West End guy, and Philly guy wants to make West End guy look weak, so he's going to hijack a deal
Mhm.
to basically start a war or something.
It's
I don't know.
not about the money.
Right.
Yeah.
no, it is to start a war. You're right.
About $200,000.
I got the impression that basically his partner sold him out. He was like, he was going to, they're going to do this thing, and the partner got weak. He sold out to a rather powerful interest somewhere in Boston, the West End group.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so the
It
whole-
made just enough sense that I didn't care
yeah, pretty much.
how little.
Well, it was
that
exciting.
made up.
Which is
Well,
weird.
and you have the phone. You have the phone as a really good mechanism for the entire thing of the out of area and the unknown caller.
Yes,
So
and
you
that's- I
always
kept-
know who he's talking to.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That part of it, the mechanics of it is very well done. And
I'm one of those
Willow
cold
is so good in a movie that basically requires him to sit in a car by himself and react to nothing.
Yeah.
You know, react to a voice constantly on his face, and he really sells it. You know,
You know, the great
it's
thing
been
about
easy to do.
also working with actors, you know, he probably loved that. It's like you don't have to work across from anybody. You get to react to stuff on the phone. That's the best because it
It's the
brought
same
out,
as reacting to a script reader.
yeah, pretty much. If someone just
Yeah.
is mouthing the line,
It's
was
hard sometimes.
Probably
you know.
what he was doing.
he did a fantastic job. Grillo, I thought, is he's an exceptional actor. He should be doing more stuff. He should be lead stuff. But you know, I don't see that much.
No,
It's
that's
just
the
he's
problem. I think this actually compresses him a little bit further into his lane. Like,
Oh,
I think
interesting.
I think he kind of has to be in here because the moments in this movie where he steps a little further out of it is where he loses me.
He's got a
Like-
movie that movie that no one saw called Donnybrook, and I might pick it at some point only
I
because
heard of it.
he's this like he does have a I agree with Tad, and I think he's sort of got a lane, right? A little bit, but he's so impressive in that lane.
Yes,
But
he's
this
great
movie this movie Donnybrook, though, it's still in that lane of per se, but he is the scariest motherfucker I've ever seen, and he barely talks.
Okay,
But
I
I've
want
never
to
seen
see
him-
that then.
Yeah, he's like menacingly scary,
Okay.
and he barely says a word. It's just he does something to his presence in that movie that I'm like, okay, this is like next level Grillo. Like I've never seen him do this before.
We'll come back to
And
that
I
in the
was
next
like-
movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it
but
was
anyway.
cool to see him in this. I mean, we've been saying he's got a limited range, but he was able to turn on a dime in these extremely stressful moments when all of a sudden he'd be on the phone with his daughter again.
Yes.
And he would have to just shift emotional gears instantly.
Or his
And he
wife.
Well,
and he did it, you know?
and the
Watch
first
film,
time I
you
ever
go home at 10, you go home at 9:00. That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
well,
This is
the
great.
first time I ever
Negotiating with
noticed
Dave.
him, the first time I ever noticed him, he was a tough guy, but he was a nice guy, and that was in the very, very excellent, underrated, overlooked film called Warrior with Tom,
That's a very good movie.
yeah, with Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy,
Yeah.
Right.
and
knew you were
he's
gonna say
Joel
so.
Edgerton's buddy and trainer in that. And he's a tough guy, but he's like compassionate. And he's like a nice guy. And that's where I was like, this guy has got something. I said, this guy's got something. And I kept following him.
Well,
I
that's what he
remember
loses. That's what he loses in like Captain America movie and stuff like
The
that.
Winter
is,
Soldier.
like,
That's what I remember him from mostly.
Yeah,
actually
he
was
just
good
becomes a shithead in that movie, and it's just like, oh, I liked you better when you weren't a shithead.
But you know what?
like,
Yeah.
He's a well-justified shithead in those things. Like, you fucking dropped a building on me. I have a right to be a bad guy. And
not in the first
This is
one. Or
this
the
is
second
what
one.
is so disappointing to me about Ed Harris's late career. Is it's just one, steel-eyed villain after another. It's like I like jarhead nice guy Ed Harris way better.
now,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's go. With
I
the,
like conflicted Ed Harris.
He's good at both.
in The
He's
Rock.
good at all of it.
yeah, let's go with the ending here a little
Yeah.
bit because I like to talk about that a little bit because okay, he finally got it isn't really reconciliation, but he got his daughter safely back to with his ex-wife.
He
Right,
bleeding out in that car.
And I think that
No.
I don't think he's going to live much-
Bleeding, but not bleeding out.
Yeah, but he's not going to live much longer after this is over anyway, because he got a lot of people still after him.
Those
No, he
two guys
doesn't.
he dropped in the bank.
I know exactly. So this is kind of this.
No, they're done. They're in prison.
Yeah.
The West End guy's dead. The Philly guy is on his side. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think
I think he's okay too, because the guys that he actually gave the money to are going to let
Wait,
him go.
I thought it was the West
They let
End
him
guy
go.
that drops the Philly guy.
And the other guys are dead.
So you think he actually lives
Who the
after
fuck
this?
knows?
Yeah, I think he's okay. I think he's okay.
All right.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I totally think he's fine at
I
the
like
end
that.
of
I like
this.
that. That's actually weirdly enough, that's more optimistic than we usually do in the show.
Because when he's talking to that guy and he's like, I've got a daughter, she's 13 years old, and he's like, well, I've got a family too, and if you get him in my sights and I kill him, we're done. You
Yeah.
don't owe me any money. You don't have to do with anything else. Just give me the bags and we're out.
right.
And he does that thing and he gets to go and drop her off with
Yeah.
the mom. And it's like, maybe he doesn't get her back. Maybe he doesn't get the daughter back, but he gets to live. Like,
Yeah.
True.
He's
Like, I
back to
don't-
his,
I-
he's back to his dysfunctional life as it was before this all started.
right. I don't think this movie is that kind of, it's not made in Denmark, let's say.
Yes.
Like,
it doesn't have that level of complexity.
this is the American version of this, where it's like, no, this guy gets to be in some form or fashion okay, the way most Americans get to be some form or fashion of okay.
Not
Okay.
I
doomed.
just remember
Yeah, this is
We're not doomed.
the shot
This
behind
is one of
Scott. I was
the-
thinking if this is where they choose to end it, that would be perfect.
And it did. That's
Yeah.
exactly. It went.
this is a it's a
the black man. That's the end.
it's a light piece of entertainment that like I stumbled upon, knew nothing about, but was just a fan of Grillo, and I was like, And when I was done, I was like, man, I really fucking enjoyed that. I'd never heard of that. I don't
was
know
very
why
impressed
anybody.
by the-
Transcended the Netflix bar, which is usually it was fine.
But you
Right.
know what?
Well,
I would recommend this to anybody.
It was
Yeah.
actually much shorter than most films, which is great.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because the credits are like 5 or 10, 5 or 7 minutes, so it's
You're
like
out-
an hour and
basically
15.
You're out in and out in 65 minutes, basically.
Well, so I have a funny little tidbit about this film.
Right.
So after I saw it, and I was like, wow, that was really fun. I really liked that. I went to my friend. I was getting a tattoo, and we were talking,
Nice one
and he's
does.
always asking me like,
One does.
he's always like, what have you seen, dude? Because he knows I'm a filmmaker, and I'm like, I just saw this little action thriller called Wheelman. I thought it was really great. It's just free on Netflix. And he goes, oh yeah, my buddy made that. And I said, what?
What?
And he goes, yeah, Jeremy Rush.
Oh my
I
god!
I said, who's that? And he goes, he used to live in Santa Rosa. And I said, what?
Oh,
And he goes,
nice.
yeah.
Local
He goes, he's
connection.
from Marin, but he lived in Santa Rosa, which makes sense because Carnahan in Sacramento. Like it makes sense, dude. So
Yeah,
the
I
guy that
think
made
he's all-
Wheelman,
It's all exurb NorCal shit.
It's like
Yeah.
the Fincher Mafia, basically.
yeah. So this guy is a local. This is a local dude.
That's cool.
I mean, he's probably in LA now, but yeah.
sure.
I don't know. I mean, watching this, I'm thinking about Drive. I'm thinking about Walter Hill's The Driver. I'm thinking about like what are some other good Mile 22. Just like mean.
Was that one?
lean,
Okay, I
efficient
think it was
little
called
thrillers.
Phone Booth. That was a pretty good film.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
so that's I literally want to have that conversation.
Phone booth.
Yes, to me, this movie felt like you took Baby Driver, but the Costco version, and Phone Booth, but the Costco version, and put them into a blender together. And that's not bad. That's not a bad, that's an all right answer. But what I wish this movie had done that it didn't do is never take the camera out of the car.
So
I wish the camera had
yeah.
always been
No,
in
in
the
other words,
car.
You got the
You're
Tom
actually-
Hardy one though.
and I don't disagree with you, Tad. In fact, I that's the first thing I came away with in my mind was like, because that opening shot is so brilliant, and the shot when he goes and pulls his buddy out of the bar is so brilliant.
Right. I hated at the beginning when it was like you can't hear what the fuck they're saying, but then when it keeps happening, it's cool. It's like, all right, we're always stuck in this box.
Yeah, he definitely didn't stick to his world per se.
Right.
No,
I mean,
you were
he still
hoping-
made
you were
a
hoping for more cinematic discipline from the guy.
Right.
yes.
I'm gonna
Right.
make
And
this-
again, I
I
think
do
this-
remember being slightly like the air went out of it for me when he started walking down the street. About
Interesting.
2/3 of the way through the movie, he's walking down the street for a few minutes, and I was like, "Oh, he's not the wheelman anymore."
It's better when it's just stuck in the car.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
somehow.
Also, it would have been interesting. Like he got out of the car and walked around, and the camera stayed in there looking at him. Like,
Yes.
like it was like
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what they did in the
Yes.
beginning. That's what they did a lot, and I love that.
Yeah, like when he dragged the guy
Yeah.
out of the bar.
When he tries,
Yeah.
when he goes and gets the car originally,
Oh,
that's what it
that's-
does. It just
Yeah.
sits in the
And
car.
that thing,
Yeah.
the back of the bar with the
Because he's like,
gun, that
fucking
was-
red trunk, dude. Fucking red trunk.
And you haven't
Gun
seen the red
descript.
truck yet. You don't even
Yeah.
know.
When he goes in and drags,
No,
the
it's
spray-
good.
drags that dude out there, and the guys are trying to threaten him. And he's like, oh my
I love.
that was the-
How about the moment? How about this moment? The first time we don't even know if he's actually strapped, and when he grabs a gun, it's a goddamn AK-47, and
I
he
know.
holds it out the fucking
Was
window.
this
Like,
the one that the guy dropped in the back seat as
Yeah.
he was trying to get in, which is
Right.
like
Yeah.
there's so much good like
Yeah.
the geography of this movie, both inside and outside of this car, is so good. Like you feel all the time he's driving, you feel all the time he's grabbing stuff. Like it works so well. And then when he finally opens his
I felt
bag,
like I had to look up where they shot this. If it's all shot in Boston and Lawrence,
Oh, really?
is it? The thing is, I couldn't tell by looking.
it's supposed to be in Philly though.
It's shot in Boston and Lawrence.
Right.
You never see that BMW.
There's a lot of shots in the Big Dig, the tunnels underneath Boston.
Oh, is that what all that was?
Yeah, exactly.
Because no one drives through that at night.
No, they don't actually.
Yeah,
But,
you never see the Beamer, you see the Porsche. We haven't even talked about the last that ending car chase where he's luring the bad guys into that parking lot. The other mobsters can shoot him. I thought that was
That was pretty good.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
pretty
again,
satisfying.
it's locked back in the back seat.
Yeah.
Like you're just watching it all
Like you're a
from-
passenger. Like that shit's
And
dope.
the sound
is what
design
I'm
is
doing here.
exceptional. Yeah. The sound design sells it so fucking
Yeah.
well. Like the gear shifts, the motor, it's just really
It's
well
just
done.
fun.
So well edited. Like I was
But this
like,
is like
again,
a
like
$5
the
million
first minute,
Netflix
I'm
movie.
awake now.
$5 million Netflix film. It's not supposed to be shown in a theater at all. It's supposed to be watched it on TV, right?
Right.
They paid the money. You watched it. It was like, oh, that was pretty good. You know what I mean? It's like the expectation. The guy exceeded expectations for a
99% of the Netflix straight to Netflix, I will forget the next morning.
Yes, that's,
I would watch this again.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, this is
it was
the
not
this
exceptional.
is actually the
Highest
third time
praise I
I've
can
seen
give
it.
Mhm. As a genre.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the cards.
Solid. Like
This is like the
almost-
mildest thumbs down I could
Yeah.
possibly give. Like, this is just slightly
still made-
below
Don't make me
50%.
fall asleep in
Like,
the middle, so it can't go all the way up, but it's right.
Oh no, man. I love it.
I would recommend this to anybody.
Good pick. I would watch it again.
All right.
I'm also gonna watch it again, despite my mild thumbs down. I'm gonna watch it again.